Rub that down.
There were so many challenges, it's really hard to name one or two. It basically changed the whole dynamic of school during and especially after the pandemic. Students really struggled with reconnecting with school. And when they returned, many of them stayed disconnected. School will never be the same for us because the kids are forever changed. But there were some things coming out of the pandemic that were really advantages in the long run. For the first time, every single teacher had some functional knowledge with technology. They had to do it.
The NC Rethink gave them the training that they needed and access to the resources they needed in order for us to effectively implement that in our building.
The Rethink Education is a program supported by a grant from the U.S. Department of Education and is an initiative of the Office of Virtual Instruction Services at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Rethink Education Professional Development provides educators with tools and strategies to implement blended learning models in their classrooms.
We realized that we had to take advantage of this moment. This is a generational moment where teachers had the knowledge, students had the technology, and we had to do something with it to change the culture of our schools. And that's why we decided on blended learning as the perfect way to do that.
Blended learning is definitely way more than just students working on the computers, because we have to remember that the computer is just a tool. It's just a tool or the means, the avenue for us to get knowledge out to our students.
It's allowed us to personalize the learning through playlists, or even allow that teacher who may have 30 students in their classroom the ability to work closer one-on-one or one to a group because the other students are engaged in another activity that may be technology-based or may be discussion-based. So what we like to say with blended learning is the best way to personalize learning, especially with a large group of students. And if you do it the right way, it's like having 2 or 3 other teachers in the classroom.
A lot of what students have said is that they don't feel like they're completing work, but they know that they're learning.
So I think the long-term impacts will be that we will be able to close the achievement gap. We're going to be able to use this opportunity and use the tools that we've learned throughout this time to really enhance and personalize learning for all students. And it's all about equity, not equality. So everybody's not getting the same thing, but they're getting what they need to get them to the desired goal in mind.
It gives students the best for what they need to succeed in our world. I don't think that we can continue to teach the way that we have, because this generation is not going to be asked to do the same things that previous generations have been.
Through the Rethink Education program, the Office of Virtual Instruction Services partners with RTI International to provide school districts with technical assistance to implement large-scale blended and virtual learning initiatives.
When we made the decision coming out of the pandemic, we knew what we wanted to do, but we didn't know what the destination looked like. And that's where RTI came in. They came into our classrooms, they came into our schools, and they saw what we needed, specifically with where we were. It was very tailored, and I'll be honest, I've been in education a long time. This is my 28th year, and this has been one of the most remarkable relationships that I've ever experienced because they were invested in us. They cared about where we were and where we wanted to go, and they helped us every single step of the way.